You know we be with it, we off in the hood like some wizards. Nobody ever gave us anything. Missed something from nothing, just like magicians. Gotta relearn everything. Just to remember that I was forgetting. Just to remember that we had a vision. Did it all, don't know how I did it. Time to go star season to go and you know those crystal truths. Let them know we in here, yeah, we in the building. Star season to go and you know those crystal truths. Back up in the matrix, yeah, we know the mission. Star season to go and you know those crystal truths. Let them know we in here, yeah, we in the building. Star season to go and you know those crystal truths. Back up in the matrix, yeah, we know the mission. Off on the mission, you know how it goes. Off in the system, they turn up their nose. They took all the soil, but they didn't know. Through the concrete, you see the roads. Eyes ain't open, don't mean I ain't woke. Ain't got no cash, don't mean that I'm broke.
Welcome.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. Apparently technology... Oh, all right.
Welcome. Technology wants to do what it wants to do. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And here we are. Welcome. Welcome to the unknown. That's right. Every now moment is an unknown moment that you get to open up. You get to step through. You get to visualize. You get to have a encounter with and make it your own, right? You get to make it your own. You get to say, I attune myself to the creative impulses that indwell within me and seek to express in, through, and as me in this now moment. In this now moment, your now moment. The unknown is only unknown until you step into it and make it known. It's only unsaid until you open it up and make it said. It's only unreal until you make it real. So if you've now realized that this is the matrix and everything is pre-processed for you, you as the one true creator, can change it. Your opt-in key and your opt-out key are on the same vibration. It's called free will. That's all Ra is saying. That's why we're here today. Because Ra is talking to us about us. The other version of us that we see as Ra is talking to us about our version and expression of us in the now. Are you ready? Are you ready to embark in the infinite possibilities of you? I know I am. Are you ready, Marcus?
I am definitely ready. I'm ready for what Raw has for us. Let's get going.
Let's get going.
Grand day, everybody.
Grand day. I've got some new Oracle cards. I'm going to shuffle. Those who want to partake, open yourself up. There's one card collectively for us. And you know me, I don't always say collective. I always say tap into your wholeness, you. But we're here together to celebrate the knowing. Let's see what the knowing is or could be. All the infinite possibilities. And here's one. It just kind of popped out. Here we go. The number is number 2. So if you're into angel numbers, I don't have a number 2 for you. I don't do angel numbers yet. It hasn't been my calling yet, but I know I'm infinitely connected with people who do. It says alert, intuition, growth spurt with an exclamation mark. You are currently experiencing a general increase in your intuitive ability. You are gaining access to the new psychic pathways. Just like physical growth spurts you experienced in childhood, an intuition growth spurt is seemingly awkward and seemingly uncomfortable at first, but you soon adjust. It's called growth. It's called shifting. It's called evolution. You soon adjust. And all the sensitivities exist in all the spectrums. And you get to shift and evolve into any spectrum that is comfortable for you. You want to add to that?
Add to what?
Do you want to add to growth and expansion and shifting?
When are we not?
Yes. When are we not?
There's what I have to add. When are we not?
When are we not? When are we?
And that's, I say that in like a humorous way, but also in a serious way. Like, but for real, like when it comes down to it, in the grand scheme of things, and what Ra's been telling us, and all these other figures been telling us, when are we not shifting and changing? And when we can accept that we are always subject to change in this realm, in this world, I mean, I can go through the rap sheet of benefits that can come with that, with accepting that part of this material existence is continuous change. And you can find a lot more peace. You can find a lot more sustainability within yourself, a lot more of a foundation to build upon, knowing that everything is a vibration that can change and alter, and that we are also chemical alchemists in these bodies. And that's why we came here, to be able to shift energy, change energy, and the forms that we have available in our interactions. And it's hard to describe what I'm trying to explain, but you can get into the mindset of knowing that there really are not destinations, or there's not like a finite, this is always going to be your reality happening. There's so much relief that we can have upon the stresses and the pain and the suffering that we go through. And not to mention, we can allow ourselves to be more present with spirit, with our intuition, with what is going to download through us, rather than what is on the outside and filling up our whole entire schedule, our whole entire life with everything outside of us. When we get into that stillness of self, we can allow our intuition to process through, give us the guidance of, this is next for you. This is where you can put your purpose. And what I've also found too, through letting go of destinations, letting go of finite realities, letting go of finite identification with myself, I find, and also add in there too, leaving spaces open in my schedule, not always cramming it full of things, And what I find, especially recently, is it allows me to be available to the universe. The universe sees me as available. Like, I'm not occupied. I don't have anything that's taken up my schedule. So then I allow the universe to fill that in the moment. And if there is nothing for me to do, then I take care of myself. I do self-care. And then what I've been having lately happen is, boom, people just pop in. Oh, can I get a Reiki session? Oh, I could use some support. Can I come over and receive some support from you? Calls, meetings happening, but they're all happening from me not planning. So there's like a balance, for me at least, I know, of, scheduling, creating order, but then also leaving spaces where it's just open. It's open for the feminine to be able to flow and be able to communicate and just draw in. And that fine balance it's been really joyous to experience, especially because, I do quite a bit myself with creating, holding spaces, events. So it's really nice to have that balance where, you're putting a lot of time into stuff and you're putting a lot of energy and effort. But then when you let go during the times of surrender and you take care of yourself, you'll then, or at least for me, I've been drawing in the support that I've been calling, that I've been trying to manifest. But what I found was the key was to not always be in my masculine energy, as in not always trying to force things, not always be in action, not always be trying to plan or trying to find the next thing to do, but having that balance of, these are my priorities, these are the things I'm going to do, and then the rest, I'm open to what my higher self has for me. In the meantime, I'm going to take care of myself and do my self-care. So that's been my balance, and that's been me kind of as of late with my relation with growth and expansion, is these aspects. Thank you for sharing that and passing it over. Back to you.
All right. And he said one thing that stood out to me, that really stood out to me. He does everything. He does his graphics. It's not just about doing this live or this podcast or just getting the guests. He literally does everything. He does it. Sometimes he does his own music. Sometimes he works really hard to be in the energy of the divine, so that the music that he chooses is downloaded. He surrenders to that. He surrenders to it's once upon a time in the world, before maybe he woke up, he was very, into his music, and that's what he was doing. But he took that in. He didn't leave it behind. The divine said, bring it with you, merge it with us. That's what the divine said. The divine didn't say merge it with me. The divine said merge it with us. You understand that we are we are a us, we are wholeness. Bring everything that you had in your quote unquote past, and let's merge it. Let's see what still fits you for your health and your well-being, for enjoying your life. Just because you find quote unquote God, or you become aware, does not mean you have to stop living. You just find the parts of you that are still available for your highest and greatest good. You merge it in, and then you discern it. And that's all Ra is saying. And right now, when we start, Ra wants me to start at the last paragraph that we had last week. So you understand where we're starting now with the next question. Ross says, the method used to awaken wanderers are varied. The center of each approach is the entrance into the consciousness and subconsciousness in such a way as to avoid causing fear and to maximize the potential for an understandable subject experience which has meaning for the entity. Now, the divine wants me to stop there. Everybody's path on this journey is not going to be the same. You might hear me say something and it vibrates to you a certain way, but the person that is in the next comment next to you is hearing it a whole different way for their highest and greatest good. That's why, and this is where the divine wants you to understand, when I say take what resonates and leave what doesn't, what resonates with and for you is not going to be the same as someone else. Because we are authentically unique to the experience of the divine that moves in, through, and as us. Now I understand why Ra wanted to start there. I certainly understand. This morning I looked and said, okay, where did I last read? And the divine said on page 21, the third paragraph. But I said to the divine, I read that already. And the divine said to me, it doesn't matter. I want you to read it again. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. It also says, many such occur in sleep, others in the midst of many activities during waking hours. So everybody is being downloaded, imploded, outploded, whatever you want to call it. Those are our words. Everything that we already have, already need, is already in us. Whether we're getting it from our higher being or whether it's coming in through the consciousness of our soul, we're privy to it. Everybody is going to be different. Some people will come off the crust of sleep right before that awakening point when you wake up. There's that sleep moment where you're half asleep and half awake, and then all of a sudden you get all these downloads from your higher being. That's being downloaded from the consciousness of the divine. And some people get that spark when they're at work, and they could be at work working for somebody else, and all of a sudden they have a spark that goes off. So they take a minute, they write it down or journal it and go back to work. Everyone is different. Everyone is going to receive the one true creator in a different manner. It doesn't make one better than the other. It doesn't mean that you're going to get a higher goal point. It just means that you're unique, and the divine knows how unique you are, and it's going to speak to you through your uniqueness. And here's the thing. The approach is flexible and does not necessarily include and this is in parentheses, close encounter syndrome, as you are aware. We are having a close encounter with ourselves. Through ourselves. We are the divine having a close encounter with its part called Sandee. Its part called Marcus. Its part called, say your name. You're divine when you're having a close encounter. When I'm talking with Marcus, I am talking with a close encounter of a version of myself. Did that just blow your mind? We've said it before. So when you're having an encounter with what you call a dark entity, you're just having a close encounter of a version of yourself. Ask yourself, ask that version of you, that mirrored version of you, what do I need to know? What are you trying to show me? Where do I go from here? Right? Okay, so we're going to begin. The questioner says, What about the physical examination syndrome? How does that relate to wanderers and confederations and Orion contacts? Now, when they say wanderers and confederation and Orion, these are the names that we know them best as, that have been handed down generation to generation, that we call these higher beings, right? That are in all points of the expression of the divine. So take it as, in my Father's house is many mansions, right? On the playground, there's many areas to play in. There's infinite possibilities of the divine being everywhere and nowhere at the same time. You can say it however it registers with you, right? I am raw. The subconscious expectation of entities cause the nature and detail of thought or thought form. Whether it's offered by the Confederation or wanderers, it is thought form, right? Thus, if a wanderer expects a physical examination, it will pre-force be experienced. That means that if you expect it, the divine is going to have you experience it. So if you expect to be visited by an extraterrestrial or an ET or an alien, the divine is going to say, let it be so. Right? So, thus, if a wanderer expects a physical examination, it will pre-force be experienced with as little distortion towards alarm or discomfort as is allowable in the nature of the expectation of the subconscious distortion of the wanderer. So you're going to get what you put into it. So if you put fear into it, there's a form of fear that'll show up, a distortion of fear that will show up for you, but no more than you have asked, no more than you have thought. So if you fear that an extraterrestrial is giving you psychic attacks, then the divine says, let it be so. And whatever your however much you're giving energy to it, then the universe that is becoming that form of distortion or alien or attack will happen. No more than you've asked for. Back to you, Marcus. Whoa.
Whoa. This really does, definitely does build off of our last episode. Again, more of that accountability talk. Accountability of our own energy field. And Ita yasutu shiki ayanatu nashini anatu tayati akashutu tama iti manusutu shati na iana kuta si nanya shunukuta miana sutu chia ta sukutu ta nikina sunuku ta upa na shi na sutu ukata yena tu nikia na tuka nishina na tutu siniyana ko. If you are ready in this space, live, non-live, when you are in this space, you're ready to let go of some attachments. You're ready to let go of some weight that you may have been holding on to, or anything else that is causing your energy field disruption. So the moment now, we welcome you to receive some assistance energetically and letting and releasing these energies that we could be holding on to. So if you guys may, allow yourself to comfortably take 3 deep breaths. And as you take these deep breaths, check in with your body, your back if you can. Like to receive more love and healing for, and circulate the breath through that in your body. Go ahead and start with the first breath. Breathing, second breath. And as we take this third breath, let's breathe out any expectations, any outcomes, or any holding on to the ego, and surrender it. Surrender it to the divine, surrender it to timelessness, limitlessness, to the perfect spirit of all, that it has us in this moment, and it has us in all moments. And the third breath. And you guys are welcome to return to your physical body. Open your eyes and check in with yourself and just see how you feel in this moment. And give my love and gratitude for all of you. Thank you. Back to you, Sandee.
Maloko o ai sia toko a. Asha sia. Aloko ujian ha. Malaki shi sholoko u. Nande ke da lu ulo nehi. We are well. Baloko usha na teki na yes no toku a. We hold nothing back. Boko ache se soloku ushi shi no toku o toki na. Yes soloku ane he we wa horse se na. She shusho no toko o lem te shi so ko a te. Tek tutak kanda kishi shuloku uta da yes na. Natuka na kiki aloko na ha neki here na. Baling ne no na yes no taka ear de. Leki is na. Everything is in you. We tell you nothing that is not already there. You just have to open it. Decide if you want to revel in it, play in it, if you want to just be. We hold nothing back. The questioner asks, well, are those who are taken on both Confederation and or Orion crafts, then experiencing a seeming physical examination. I am Ra. Your query indicates incorrect thinking. The Orion group uses the physical examination as a means of terrifying the individual and causing it to feel the feelings of an advanced second density being, such as a laboratory animal. The divine wants me to stop here and remind you that the Orion group can do nothing against your free will. So when they do what they do, it's because you opened yourself to it. They have to honor the free will agreement by which they choose consciousness as being. Ra goes on to say, the sexual experience of some are a subtype of this experience. The intent is to demonstrate the control of Orion entities over the Terran inhabitants. The thought form experiences are subjective and, for the most part, do not occur in this density. For the most part. But if you choose to dive into it and bring it into this density, you get what you request. The divine says, let it be so. The questioner says, well, we have a large spectrum of entities on Earth with respects to harvestability, both positively oriented and negatively oriented. Would the Orion group target in on the ends of the spectrum, both positively and negatively, for contact with Earth entities? I am Ra. This query is somewhat difficult to accurately answer. However, we shall attempt. The most typical approach of Orion entities is to choose what you might call the weaker-minded entity that it might suggest a greater amount of Orion philosophically to be disseminated. Okay, so I'm going to allow the divine to say that this, as of the divine sharing this information, there are fourth density beings that can only enter the third density by your request, through your dreams, through your astral planes, through your choices, through your energy. I'm supposed to take a pause there. Most of these entities, entities that you're coming in contact with, they're not in form that we know of it, human form. As Ra has told us before, when they access the negative polarity and they choose that, they try not to reincarnate as human form because they can be noticed by positive polarity. So they choose to be consciousnesses of your gods that we call gods, your angels, your demons, your and they choose to manipulate you that way, because they can manipulate the soul to choose the negative polarity. Because guess what? the soul or higher being, that's one of their choices. They can choose the negative polarity or positive polarity, just like the human body and the mind have free will. What a hodgepodge. So divine wants you to ask yourself a question: how much do you are you putting into you meeting an entity that's taking advantage of you? Now I understand why I was wanting to keep reading, and the divine kept trying to tell me, stop. I've got something to say. I want to channel through you. Now I understand it. To get to that question about you talking about Orions and all these other entities, what about your now moment of you being responsible for what you're saying is happening in your life? If an entity is taking advantage of you, it's not taking advantage of you because it can. It's taking advantage of it because you allow. Because if you have free will, you can say no. And guess what? It's got to go. It's got to move on. It has no power over you. As the girl in the movie The Labyrinth said to David Bowie's character, you have no power over me. And the spell was broken. It only has what you give it. So if Orion is trying to, an entity from Orion is fucking with you, you open the door to it. And you gave it permission to come in because what? You believed in it. That's your power. Next, you said, oh, it's fucking with me. It's hurting me. It's depleting me. Well, you're giving it permission to take. Man, the divine and Ra, I'm telling you, when they're... Right? Ra goes on to say, in cases where they share information just as we are doing now, however, this is a risk for the Orion entities due to the frequencies with which the harvestable negative planetary entities then attempt to bid and order the Orion contact, just as these entities bid planetary negative contact. So they have a free will too. But they know that they, just as we're setting boundaries, they know their boundaries. They know they can't just willy-nilly come into our third density through the grid that's put around Earth consciousness. They know they can't break in, but they can be invited in. And when they can be invited in, they can play. And you're the play toy, or I'm the play toy, or Marcus is the play toy, depending on how we choose to play. It's they go on to say that the resulting struggle for mastery, if lost, is damaging to the polarity of the Orion group. It's not damaging to you, but it's damaging to them. Did you get that? It's damaging to them. Why? Because they've already been through what we've been through. They already came and had a chance to play in fifth density and fourth density when Earth consciousness started this whole experiment, if that's what you believe in. And they played a little bit too hard because they wanted to keep, instead of doing the game the way Earth consciousness planned it, they wanted to become the creator as the divine creator and create their own entities without with their consciousness is already in. They wanted to create mini me's, and in doing so, they almost destroyed Earth consciousness the first time, so that she couldn't shift. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. So they had to be. They're allowed to be in fourth density, but they can't come back unless what? They knock on your door and you open it and say, come in. Or you knock on theirs and say, I want to come in. But somebody has to invite somebody. Kind of like a vampire. Supposedly a vampire can't enter your house unless you welcome them in. Back to you, Marcus. It's just as blowing my mind. Are you there, Marcus?
Yeah, I'm just reading the comments.
Oh, on Facebook?
Instagram. Warrior Flight said, they are not I. My roots are Sirius and Andromedan. Nice. Well, welcome to this space. It's wonderful for you to know your soul lineage. I'm a Lyran starseed myself. And yeah. And that's the paradox of life, you know. We can choose with our free will to say that we're separate from these beings and experience it that way. But then once that fades away, as everything else perishes in the illusions, and it's all said and done, we're all still one consciousness, no matter what. And we actually we have reptilian and draconian in our being. And it's even placed at the lower bottom of your brain, in your human brain. They call it, the reptilian mind, or the reptile mind. And that's just, the essence, the DNA of that species being infused into your human being, because your human being is genetics of about almost all species. And you have capability metaphysically, energetically, to channel any species beyond your flesh, beyond your physical identification. So just want to put that out there for people. The paradox, and it's all valid. It's valid what you want to say and choose you are, and your relation to others. But it's really fun and interesting to see, for me at least, where I can say that I am connected to them and that I am part of the one with them, because they are fulfilling parts of the contrast. They are fulfilling parts of the duality that we are experiencing, just as we are being counter reflections or any other degree of reflection of them. And that's again the paradox. It's like we think about how they're, how they are something outside of us, but then at the same time they also have their perspective as well, and in their perspective, they're viewing us in whatever way they're viewing us as well. And it's interesting. I'm sure you probably have some that see us as enemy, then you have some that see us as part of the conscious one. And I feel like it all mirrors, as in they can have the same free will that we have when it comes to how they want to believe as well, when it comes to being separate or being one equal force. And I think what spirits really get me to here, because now my throat chakra is opening up, is that we all as beings have free will here. And with that free will, it's not black and white. It's not one size fits all for any species, for any beings. As in, it's not just straightforward only negativity for all reptilians and all draconians, all Orion beings. And it's not all straightforward law of one, positivity, love and light for even the beings that are of higher light. I mean, look at our own self. We are the example of duality. This human body is literally the embodiment of light and dark. And we're fluctuating through that every day. So what I've been finding lately is, where can I find the interconnection, and where can I find the divine relationship with all beings? That includes the Ascended Masters, all the way down to the Draconian overlords. And with that, the thing that's been really cementing in my mind is that, it's the polarity game. Do not forget, Marcus. It's the polarity game. And there's something within you that has a relation to them. A relation that actually resonates and harmonizes with them. Are you willing? Are you willing, Marcus? Are you willing to allow that harmonization and that peaceful relation with these beings to come forward in you? Key thing, come forward in you. It's not even that I have to establish a healthy relationship or try to force anything with them. It's that there's somewhere within the fabric of my DNA and this being that has a harmonic resonance with the Orion beings in their purest form of what they are and designed to be. Where can I access that a little bit more inside myself so that I can release any limited beliefs surrounding them or myself, the way that the universe is made or the way that the galactic universe is made? Where can I also lean into that relationship within that they're playing roles divinely, or else they wouldn't even be here and be doing what they're doing? And then with that, what can I do within my own space, my own power, to not allow myself to open my energy field to them in states of fear, depression, anxiety, scarcity, addiction to outside things? And the more I continue to clean those up within myself, the more I realize that nothing's actually bothering me besides my own self and the things that I've allowed to happen in my own space. And the beauty is that we can do something about it. You know, if we feel like something's off, we feel like there's things in our space that we don't want, then we have amazing tools to be able to remove, clear, and integrate. So with that, I used to be someone that was very much really focused on, you know, this whole reptilian and draconian thing. And, you know, I used to be wanting to overthrow the government and like all this other stuff surrounding that. And what I realized is that I was exhausting myself. I was exhausting my energy and my time, and also giving away my power, giving away my focus of what I can be doing constructively. And I've also found very helpful too is just focusing on solutions of empowerment, and to continue to focus on those and continue to build with those. And often what I find is that becomes your shelter. When you just live by your heart and live by your passions, it can kind of become your shelter. And when you really develop that foundation with yourself and continue to carve your way through the universe, you really have a stronger awareness of what energies you're allowing in your space and how you're being affected by those energies coming into your space. It's hard to tell what's affecting us if we're continuously giving ourselves, if we're continuously hopping around person to person, practice after practice, all these different things entangling energies. And last thing that really comes to me right now is when I allow myself to recognize that my vibration is key to what it is that I attract. I prioritize my spiritual and holistic health. So my point is, if we realize and we've come across this knowledge and information that the only reason or the only way that these kind of negative polarity beings are going to mess around with us and have different interactions in the ways that we may not like, then we got to keep up on the things that are going to prevent that from happening. But if we just keep on doing the same old things, eating all that junk food and all the toxic things, hanging around the same environments filled with drugs, foul language 24/7, degrading energies, all these different things that are constantly degrading, lowering the vibration, and allowing such avenues to take place, then it's no coincidence why such energies is in our field. And of course, when I say foul language, I mean foul language. I'm not talking about just cussing. I'm talking about when you're literally putting your lowest vibrational intentions into your words to sling someone down to the lowest, to degrade people, to literally try to destroy someone's soul. that type of energy. It's gonna be no coincidence. So just really, like, be present with where you are with yourself, and just really be real. Being real is something that can be difficult in this life, being real with ourselves. Because that accountability, man, sometimes that accountability is like, oh man, like, wow, got to be accountable for this power. These things I've allowed, these things I've been blaming and shaming for the last couple of years. Back to you.
I'm going to tell you. When I read, there was a part that I read in the Divine Design about, it was about the clearing of the fourth density beings, being the Draconians, being the Orions, that Earth consciousness couldn't shift because she was being pulled down so low by the experiments that were being done to humankind, and so the call was put out for and to come and hold space, and the beings from everywhere that the divine is and is not came and answered the call, and they had to do a clearing, and they cleared all the fourth density beings, and they didn't banish them back. They said, they broke the law, which said that you could not physically hurt Earth consciousness's body. And what they were doing was about to hurt Earth consciousness of body and possibly aid in destruction. So the divine said, okay, just like any parent would, I'm going to put you on a timeout. You can go back to the fourth dimension, but it's going to be outside of the of Earth consciousness's quantum field. Earth consciousness is protected, so all of them were moved back into that field, but they still could play there. That like blew my mind. It just blew my mind. And anything, the Draconians, the Arturians, anybody that had combined their DNA with the DNA of humans, those could not be cleared off of Earth consciousness. Why? Because they held a percentage of human DNA that could not be banished, if you want to use a word, back to fourth density. They had to stay in third density. So it blows my mind, because Marcus just said that all of us now have a little bit of this in our DNA. It's not just the big bad governments or the big bad pharmaceutical companies or any of those that are choosing the lower polarity or the negative polarity, that are the quote unquote draconians or anything. We all have that DNA in us. We get to express it if we want. This is third density. When Earth consciousness wanted to shift and expand, she chose fifth density, or the fifth consciousness level, because she didn't have to experience polarity. But the higher being said, we want to play more, we want to have more choices. And Earth consciousness, this blew my mind, said, okay, if we go down from third density to from fifth density to fourth density and land and acclimate and anchor into third density, you'll have more choice. You'll have more expression. And then I can shift and evolve back up to seventh density like I want it. She accommodated. And all of the higher beings, even the draconians, accommodated the divine. The divine creator, when the divine said, okay, you've got to go back to fourth density because Earth consciousness wants to still shift. And they left. They accommodated. They still can enter, but now they've got to knock. They've got to be invited. And guess who has the party? Who has the party invitation? We do. And the divine said, okay, let that be so. If you want to experience that, let that be so. We get to still experience it. We get to experience it, like Marcus said, either you're fearing it or either you're experiencing it through unconditional love of having this experience, then surrendering, letting it go and experiencing something else. And I love how he says that because it leads into the next question. The questioner says, in general, we could say that if an individual has a close encounter, and that's in parentheses, with a UFO or any other type of experience that seems to be UFO related, he must look to the heart of the encounter and the effect upon him to determine whether it was Orion or Confederate contact. Is this correct? I am Ra. This is correct. If there is fear and doom, the contact was quite likely a negative nature. If you chose to encounter them, this entity, this consciousness that's being this entity, through fear and doom, the divine says, let it be so. If the result is hope, friendly feelings, and the awakening of a positive feeling of purposeful service to others, the marks of Confederation contact are evident. They're going to be whatever you want them to be. They're going to be the type of contact that you want them to be. They aren't just negative. They're going to be what you want them to be. They are going to be part of your story just as you write it. So if you are thinking about alien contact and your first contact with them is something evil, then that's what it's going to be. Right? That's what they're going to be. No barking. I'm sorry. You have to forgive me. My dog is the handyman is there, and he goes into protect mode. But my sister is handling that. Yeah. So does that not blow your mind? How the divine design, this book and many other books correlate with Ra, or Ra correlates with them. It just blows your mind. You get to have a contact with you don't have to wait for the UFOs to come and be part of the government trying to, orchestrate all of this, telling us that there are lights in the sky and that you are really seeing these you've been in contact with them all this time because they have been being what you want them to be. Most of us have been playing in their now moments and not ours. When we do the astral play, when we play in the astrals, when we go to sleep and we'll say, see you in the astrals, right? We play there more. We're happy there when we're sleeping or when we're in the astrals, and we're not happy in our own now moment. The most privilege your highest being has ever been given is to play on earth consciousness in this time. Whether it was 1940, whether it was 1878, whether it was 1719, it doesn't matter the year. When your higher being was given the privilege to come and have a human encounter with itself in form, that was the most precious thing to do as far as earth consciousness and the divine had given for this dimension in this realm. And then when we, our higher beings, decided we wanted to play more, we wanted to access more, earth consciousness said, okay, I'll lower myself once again. Let's take it from 5D. Because the divine said, what do you want to do? Do you want to start all over again? No, we don't have to start all over. Just fortify my body so I can be in 3D, so I can be part of this polarity, so I can be on the journey with these higher beings and these form bodies, and we can shift and evolve together. And even if and the divine told earth consciousness, I can start all over again, and the divine says, no, let's do this, and we will shift. Even if they don't shift exactly with me, I will shift and be waiting for them, no matter how you do it. And you get free will choice and your higher being. That was the shit upon all shit, that my higher being had choice to do positive polarity or negative polarity. It got to make choice. And here's the kicker. According to Ra, before you merge back to the divine at the 7th density layer, you go back to quote unquote the love and unconditional light of the one true creator. After you got to play all of this and make choices and everything, you get to merge. No judgment. Blows my mind. Did it blow yours? Back to you, Marcus. Did you freeze for a second? I think you froze for a second.
There we go.
Back to you. What, Marcus, I saw there's a Michael Nielsen who said opinions on VRIL. What's VRIL? It's in the...
I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure either.
When I looked it up, it was something about a secret society that formed the Nazi Party.
Ah. Well,
And a
what
secret
blew my
society that
mind...
was like very dedicated to universal consciousness.
Okay. I'll have to see if I can get some more information on that before I can extrapolate based on my human part of me, or be in vibration meditation wise. But God, I can't even remember his name. We talked about him so much. The Nazi Party and their regime, the leader of that, it blows. Yeah, Hitler, through Ra, and also through the book I read, Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. It blew my mind that Hitler merged back with the divine. The soul that was Hitler merged back with the divine. So in other words, maybe if you believe that the soul that was Hitler went to heaven, because Hitler just experienced, and God experienced what Hitler experienced, and then that was done.
Yep.
It freaking blows your mind, right? It upsets the apple cart. It says, what more don't I really truly understand about the divine and this power of energy to create? What more don't I really understand about the consciousnesses that are the entity called draconians and reptilians and Arcturians and Nephims and what more don't I really understand about that? How come I can't grasp that when I look, see, and hear about them, that they are the other version of me? They are a mirror version of me. What don't I understand about me, that I am an entity? I'm not just a human being, but I'm an entity. When you look at your hand and you look at the fingers on your hand, and they are a part of your hand, they are a part of the consciousness of your hand, but all of them are not the same. So when you look outside of yourself to another aspect of the divine, you are seeing yourself in just a different form. And then you get to ask, well, why did I invite this form to come in and be this entity or this darkness or this dark thing to come in and be a part of my story? Why did I invite that polar opposite image of me to come in? What is it trying to direct me to? What does my higher being want me to know about the role that I need to play next? Why did they agree to come in and meet each other at this time in this place with this information that I have tapped into? Whether it's fear, happiness, whether it's lack or animosity or hate or whatever it is. How do I get to sit with myself, or should I blame? These are all embodying questions. And that's all Ra is here to tell you is, if you fear it, it's going to be fear. If you have disdain for it, it's going to show up as a version of disdain. If you have animosity or hate for someone or something, it's going to show up in exactly the form that you put it out. The universe can't hold back. The consciousness of these energies that are interacting in your story can't and won't hold back. They are obligated to give you exactly what you request. Blows my mind. I don't know about you, but it blows my mind. So where are we at? We are at an hour and 17 minutes. Ooh. Do we read another paragraph, or do we stop there?
One more.
One more? Okay.
One more.
One more. The questioner says, I did not wish to create the wrong impression with the material that we are including in book 1. Interesting that he goes back to book 1. I may find it necessary to add some of the material. So he's going back and he's readdressing some information that was given in book 1 that kind of maybe went over kind of went over his head, or they didn't get a chance to dive into it deeply. So the author is letting Ra know that I know we addressed this, and the questioner is always asking Ra, do you mind going over it again? Because Ra can be very frank and go, we did this before, what the fuck? We did this before, right? We've noticed that with book 2, right? So he goes on to say, as I say, I know that it is transient, but I believe it is necessary for a full understanding, or shall I say, a correct approach to the material. I ask a few questions here, but if you don't care to answer them, we'll save them, right? So he's letting Ra know, we'll save them for now. I probably will ask again. I would like to ask, however, if you can tell me what, for the most part, the Confederation entities look like. And yes, he has asked this question before. Okay. Ra says, I am Ra, the 4th density, because he told them that the Confederation was 4th density, right? And this makes sense to me because in the book, the Divine Design, they said that Earth consciousness allowed 5th density beings, 4th density beings to share the Earth plane in different dimensional now moments, right? The 4th density Confederation entity looks variously, depending upon, shall we say, derivations of its physical vehicle. So they have very different looks depending on what vehicle, what body form they're taking on. They're 4th density beings. They know how to maneuver through 5th dimensional and 4th dimensional. Okay. And they know how to maneuver between 4th dimensional and 3rd dimensional. They know that they can't physically be in the plane, but they know how to lower their vibrational energy enough to become consciousness and maneuver that way. So this blows my mind, because here it is, the Divine Design that's written years later and channeled later. They correlate with each other. The questioner says, do some of them just look just like us? Could they pass for Earth people? I am Ra. Those of this nature are most often 5th density. 5th density is light being. They have the shape of humans, but they have the essence of Christolight. Take what resonates. You don't need to believe it. You can believe whatever you want. Take what resonates. The questioner said, I assume that the same answer would apply to the Orion group. Is this correct? I am Ra. This is correct. Is there any other query of a brief nature we may answer? So Ra wants to take a pause, and we'll take a pause there. Back to you, Marcus. Blows your mind, right?
Every time I'm just like, let me gather my breath before I say a word here. Wow. What was that last part again? There was something, that last part, that really stood out to me that I was going to say.
The last part where it says, could they pass for Earth people? Those of this nature are most often 5th density. The questioner says, I assume that the same answer would apply to the Orion. Is this correct? Ra says, this is correct.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, there was something that came to me to kind of deliver for everybody here that's wanting to resonate with it. And it's just perspective. So this is a perspective to help us to be able to see that there is still light within these negative polarity beings. So oftentimes we can believe that because they are the negative polarity, then that means they're the complete absence of light. And that's actually not the higher reality. The higher reality is that everything is light, but it depends upon the vibrational frequency rate of the light. Depending upon the vibrational frequency rate of the light, and depending upon the form that it's taking materialistically, then it's going to have different attributes. It's going to have different awareness. It's going to have different capabilities with its being because of the density, the rate of light and vibration that is flowing through their being. With that being said, you're still light. These draconians are still light. Everything is made of light. But due to the density, the vibration rate of these beings, which is of the negative polarity, they are in more of, there's many different ways you can label it if you want to label it, but ignorance, selfishness, service to self, all these different ways of describing it. And what I'm really getting to here, or what Spirit's really circling around to here, is that think about this for a moment. Yes, they do all these things, like try to overpower people. They try to, destroy, and all these different things, manipulate, propaganda, brainwash, and all these type of things. But with all that being said, where is that coming from, though? Is it coming from the absence of love? Is it coming from the absence of light? Or actually, is that coming from love? But it's just a dense negative polarity version of love. Because the love is there, but it's not the way that, we see love from the polarity that we're in. But for them, love can be, I love myself. I love that I'm a being. So due to loving myself so much, I'm doing things that I feel are love to me. And with that, we kind of shut out that compassionate connection of love. Doesn't mean the love's not there. It's just not being given through compassion. And also think about this. Although they may do what they do and try to overtake those that they may want to call others, or those that they say are not part of their royal families, or whatever they want to say, well, if they have families and they protect their families and they do these things for, their families and their bloodline, and this isn't me being like, oh yeah, we should all just try to have our own royal bloodlines and just try to kill and overtake and depopulate everything else. That's not what I'm saying here. My point is, there is love present there. Although it could be very dampened, it could be very saturated, it could be very distorted, there's still love in these beings because they have families, they have, a lot of them have wives and partners and like children that they raise, and all these different things. And for some of them, they're also doing what they know to do to protect and love their royal bloodline and their families. And again, it's not me saying like, oh yeah, we should all just mimic these behaviors and just keep doing it. It's just me pointing out that in the ultimate truth, in wholeness, there's still love and there's still light within these beings. Because if there wasn't, you know, they would just be like killing their partners, killing their children, and just like all that type of stuff.
Right.
But there is some speck of love and light within these beings still. And that's that glimmer of hope that we can actually touch and reach them in that little glimmer of hope and light and love in very, very intricate and strategic ways. And those ways,
I think you cut out for a second. You froze.
Some of us are trying on. Yeah, that just came through the shit resting. There we go.
Yeah.
And it was just really interesting when that just came to me. It was like, I never really thought about that for a moment.
Yeah.
Like,
there's the
yeah, that makes sense. You know,
there's unconditional love of the divine, and then there's there's just the love in the physical form of what love is, but the divine is allowing us to feel it all. So everybody that wants there, so beings, human beings, soul beings, higher beings, get to choose if they want to vibrate in the lower polarity of love, or service to self with the lower polarity of love. They get to choose. It's a choice. It might not feel good to you, but guess what? If it doesn't feel good to you, you get to take that, I don't like that, it doesn't feel good to me, and play somewhere else in the playground. It doesn't mean that the story stops. You still might have to go and renew your driver's license if you want to drive a car. You still might have to pay your rent if you want to have a place to live. The story still is ongoing, but you get to change how you do it. You go, Sandra, how do you change that? You get to decide, I'm not going to resist. I'm going to create. What do you mean, Sandra? Well, I'm not going to spend time about thinking about why they created this story and what their story is, what they're using their negative polarity for. I choose not to look at that story. I choose to use the story of me having a driver's license and driving a car and paying my insurance and renting my house or my apartment or my townhome so that I can enjoy life, so that I can utilize unconditional love to serve others, knowing that while I'm serving others, all my needs and all my wants and all my desires have already been met. Therefore, I keep shifting, growing, expanding, and evolving, and then I get to do it again. That's my story. Their story could be something totally different. Why? Because the playground that Earth consciousness invited us to play in is so massively big that you can play anywhere on that playground that you want. And if you spend time judging that which you don't like, instead of taking the opportunity to say, where is this going to take me and how do I get there? If you spend the time judging, the universe will say, yes, I'll give you more. And these entities that you've given permission to come in and play in your playground are going to play at what you created. So if they're coming in to play with you and you're giving them fear, they've got to go tap into the lower those lower polarities and play in that denseness. So they're gonna play well. whether you call them Orions, Draconians, or reptilians, they're going to play well. Why? Because their energy that they're using is being transformed to give you the best experience of life that you want, even at the negativity of it. I know that sounds like, man, that's kind of like really fucked. But you know what? The divine said, I'm here and I'm along for your ride. And you're telling me a story. You're taking me on the ride. Right? I'm just saying.
I just think of Yoda on Luke Skywalker's back when he's training him.
Yeah.
Oh God, I got the hiccups over here.
But I know it seems kind of contrary, but this is why your ego prefers you go in a straight line. Because if you move with the flow of the divine, it seems very chaotic.
Yeah, unorthodox.
Right? It seems, yeah. But if you look at it and go, chaos is where your story begins. You're dropped right in the middle of creation. The divine didn't drop you on a straight line. It dropped you in the middle of creation. And that is very confusing to your higher being, not to your higher being, but to your ego. Whereas if you sit with your higher being, if you sit with your soul, the cosmic chaos, divine chaos, it makes sense. You can go into any dimension and create anywhere. You can step into any version of yourself and become. And all consciousnesses from every area that is the divine and not the divine came to play. And they came to also, some of them didn't want to take human form. They wanted to be the consciousness of our story. They wanted to be the tree that you wanted to hug. They wanted to be the car that you were going to eventually be in and have an accident in and be what awakens you to your new purpose. And you go, oh, they wanted to be my accident? Well, come on. How else do you learn? How else do you move to a new story? Sit with us at your seat of your soul and ask your higher being why your higher being said, at this point in time, I'm going to interact with another higher being who's going to have who's going to be in a car, and they're going to run a stop sign. I'm going to flip over. I'm going to break my leg. And then when I'm in the hospital, I'm going to meet the love of my life. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to be with that person till, who knows, if you want, if the story goes that way, till death do you part. I don't know.
That's life, for real.
That's cosmic chaos creating. I'm just saying. So this card came out. This is how I'm going to close. It says, anchor into your energy. Come home to yourself instead of focusing on others. Tasks to be completed or external world. Stop riding every wave and drop anchor by doing an activity that you love and spending quality self-care time alone. Center yourself to feel more powerful, calm, and confident. Your intuition will then stabilize. This is what Marcus started with at the very beginning of this, as we began this divine raw material.
Wow.
Right?
I really like that anchor line. What was that anchor line again?
The anchor into your energy. Do you know why I like this? I've been looking down at it since it came out. Because in order to anchor from third density to fourth density, or fourth density to fifth density, you have to assimilate your energy. You have to acclimate your energy. Then you have to tap into your energy. And then when you have 80% light energy, you can tap into the next dimension. 80% energy into the fifth dimensional consciousness, and you still have access to third dimension and fourth dimension. You still get to be accessible to seeing 3D through a 4D lens and a 5D lens, and you get to acclimate into 5D with 80% of your light code. You just shifted. Now you get to live discerning through 5D and 4D, and still live in a 3D duality. And then you get to do it all again so that you can shift to the next one. That blows my mind. Anchor into your energy. It's your energy. It's about your energy. I'm just saying. Anyway, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I do have to go now because I have to go make sure I can sign off on my handyman stuff, what they're doing. So otherwise, I probably wouldn't be leaving right now.
That being said, thank you to everybody for tapping in live. Thank you to all of you that'll tap in the time and space that you do. And give thanks to Ra. Give thanks to all beings that are playing a part of this now moment. And give thanks for episode 44 now. So we are moving along.
44.
And yeah, I just want to give thanks also for our authenticity and the individualness that we all get, the opportunity and gift to explore, but also being unified always. Such a blessing and a beauty. And thank you, Sandee. Thank you for co-hosting and sharing such a beautiful space today.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, and thank you. Have some compassionate wordplay today. Be the co-creator that you were meant to be. If it's easier saying that you're a co-creator with the one true creator, go ahead and say it. But I say I am the creator in this physical form with a human consciousness, with a conscious mind. Play. Some people call it work.
With that being said,
I'm going to go play today. I'm going to go play and I'm going to get paid.
I'm going to get paid and I'm going to play.
Let's see.
I'm going to play and I'm going to get paid.
Why don't you give Jesus glory as owner? You can. You can do anything you want to do. You can. I can give Jesus consciousness and Buddha consciousness all the glory as well. They were part of this story. They still are part of the story. There's infinite possibilities. Everybody's seeing, being, and fulfilling their story to their glory. So
That's
Can
right.
we hear
We
some
all,
musical drums, please? Ooh.
I just want to add to that, we all have an important role, every one of us. We all deserve a little bit of praise, everybody, not just one, but all of us, we all put in a lot of work on this earth, and we do a lot in these incarnations. And the good brother Yeshua just wants to remind us of that we all are the I am, that we all are our own hero, we are our own savior, and we have the power within us. The Father is in me, and I am in the Father. Your body is the temple. Lift that log, move that rock, and you will find me.
Mm-hmm.
All parables of Yeshua.
All parables. Yes.
And if you tune in to book 1, we talk about Yeshua a little bit. We talk about Jesus and his soul mission and who he is on a soul level. So you can always tap in and find out a little bit about the praise of Jesus there, as we did mention him in book 1.
In book 1, and you can find it on both our YouTubes, and the information's there. Matter of fact, after we're reading, we're not here to sell the book, but if you want to read it yourself and vibrate with it, find out how you vibrate with it without the divine commentary that we're sharing with you. That's part of it as well, right? You can go to any one of our IG pages. You can go to Marcus's Facebook page. You can go and find all 43 volumes of what we've been doing. And then take what resonates and leave what doesn't. That's called growth. That's called expansion. That's called shifting and evolution. Now, I do have to go. So
This space is now sacredly sealed and closed.
and close.
With that being said, everybody have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day, night, time, space, reality warped into a dimensional fabric of all that is.
Okay. And also to let you know, this will be, we might go back to our regular time. Marcus and I have to talk about it for Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. The way we were, it's up to Marcus, because I will be done with my treatments, and I can go back to regular schedule. So Marcus will, we'll let you know. But I'm so happy. I'm so thankful and grateful that Marcus was
congratulations again.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your steps.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So one love, everybody. One love.
One love, everyone. Wholeness. The Sacred Light Community Nightcap. Fresh new episode coming up this Thursday on the 23rd, 8 p.m. Eastern, live. Instagram, Sacred Light 33, YouTube, Sacred Light Healing and Wellness. 7 Chakras, with sacred guest, Cecily, Magical Willow. Join us. See you then.
My third eye's open, I can see past the commotion. I can't get lost in the moment. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I live on the side with the chosen. Higher dimensions we going. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My third eye open, I can see past the commotion. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I live on the side with the chosen. Higher dimensions we going. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm guaranteed to check like TSA. 1 in a million like